are back with Brunch, a taste of Tobago. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for staying with us. It's amazing how many persons we can reach with this program. And from our family to yours, we wish you nothing but peace and blessings and success in whatever you endeavor to do. Remember, we are live on Tobago Updates Network Television. We are live on Facebook, Player 102, and of course, YouTube. Now, my next guest, I'm so privileged to announce him, to introduce him. He has been in our sporting world, our television world for some time now. And throughout his career, he has dedicated his life to sports broadcasting, community development, and of course, philanthropy. And, it gives me great pleasure to introduce a renowned sports commentator, radio, and television personality with a rich history of television production. Mr. Selwyn Melville, good morning and welcome to Brunch, a Taste of Tobago. How are you doing
Hey,
today?
good morning. Blessings with all the dressings. How are you today? Can you hear me? I think my audio has not come in contact
Yeah,
with you.
I'm hearing you a little better now. Yes.
A little better now. All
Yes.
right. So talk to me. I'm not a beast. Some say I should have been a priest.
Well, only you can know that. But I just want to say welcome. Welcome to brunch. Thank you for talking with me. I
Yeah.
grew up watching and listening to you as a commentator.
Ouch.
And
Ouch. Don't tell me I'm old.
no, you're not. By no means are you old.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
But
I'm joking.
you had this ability to draw people in. And that's a gift. And I'm so
Thank you.
privileged that you're here, to talk to me today. But let's go back a little bit. How did it start for you? Did you always want to be in the media field?
Well, I'm not sure I really wanted to be a media boy. You know, I'm born and grew up in Tobago, in Speyside. So you grew up in a proper village, proper
Oh, yes.
identity, and all that. And we did everything possible. My parents led me on a path. My mother was one who was saying, not because you're from Speyside, you have to talk what they are talk a village there. You had to be able to have a more polished presentation because you don't know
Yes.
where you'll end up. So I ended up in Scarborough, going to school, Elizabeth's College, and from
Mm-hmm.
there I developed because, and I was living in a place called Young's, eventually Mills Guest House on Young Street in Scarborough. And you were exposed to a number of people, variety of people. So then the exposure was tremendous. And from there, a lot of things happened. You're exposed to a number of people and things are happening. I developed some really good friendships as a young man in Tobago. From there, some of these people who were from Trinidad were still my friends up to this day, and they still play an important role in my life as friends and all that. But then, coming to the end of my stage, my years in school at Elizabeth's College, I was introduced to doing a little thing on 610 Tobago because how it was at Elizabeth's College, I was one of the little boys and who were very foppish. You like to be exposed to a number of things. So I represented the school at a number of things like if there were events coming up in Tobago, sports, whatever, I was asked to represent the school. And on that basis, I was able to develop a wider scope of things. So then it came then, one guy was there, he was at 610 Tobago, and he wanted to leave Tobago to go back to Trinidad. And he said, well, hey man, what are you going to do? So they gave me the opportunity then to do a little thing on 610 Tobago. $2 a story, but the exposure was tremendous. And I didn't study. I wasn't studying about what Tobago had to offer and the $2 and all that for the story. But the fact that I was getting recognition and exposure, because you're leaving school and you don't know what you're really going to do. So media wasn't the real thing on my mind, but I got an opportunity. And I said, thank you very much. And then my friends were saying, when they heard me on 610 Tobago, and they said, well, Melo get a good voice, boy. Melo could go far. And eventually, well, I got an offer from Trinidad to come there to do work on Radio Trinidad, 730 radio at that time. And I was grateful. I got there as the assistant sports editor, and I worked there for a while, and it was tremendous. It wasn't a bed of roses. So even if it looked pretty, when you sat down, you feel the prick from the rosebuds and all that was there at you, and you realize that it wasn't a cakewalk and something to really brag too much about. But the opportunity there was so great that it was something that you couldn't really run away from. And despite the challenges, like I used to tell people, I come from Tobago, but I ain't going back to plant no peas and potato, not because I don't want to, because I was exposed to that before as a boy. But I seen a new way of taking life and moving forward. So I was grateful for that. I took that chance and made the thing possible. So I was there, and things grew from there. I had my challenges. There are doubts about me being a quality broadcaster because I still had my Tobago tongue then for them, but I still have that. Make I change that. I was born and bred in Tobago. Even though I spent most of my years in Trinidad, I'm still a qualified Tobagonian, heart and soul. And I'll do anything any day really to defend Tobago's interests, no matter what it may be. Once it's in a good cause, I will fight for that. So, yeah, we grew and we widened our scope. I traveled a lot with Radio Trinidad to the Olympic Games, the Pan Am Games, the Central American Games, football, cricket, everything. So my variety as a broadcaster was really wide. In addition to that, I also became a man who decided, well, because people helped me when I was a boy coming up in Tobago, I always felt that it was important to give back to the people. So, apart from being a broadcaster and renowned, and I traveled the world, I did everything that was required of me. I attracted attention. I created this program called Sports Sunday, which many people were in the younger period would have been acquainted with, and so on. And I had people like Amoko and BP on my side working with me because they felt that I had something to offer. So most people don't really know. They say I'm a sports commentator, but my attributes are wider. My scope is wider. The attributes that I have, the things that I've done in broadcasting as a person is tremendous because you go to BP and I'm going to tell you that this guy, I did like the first safety video for Amoco, a local safety video. And the thing is that I went into a place where, oh boy, I had to talk to these people, and they were oil barons. They were senior people in what they were doing, and I'm just a sports commentator. But I was studious. I did my work. I did my research, and when I went there and I sat with them, they had conversation. There was a place that was very quiet, and then they say, "Well, I was wondering, well, what was I doing? Did I make a mistake to come here to these people?" Then someone said, "How much is it gonna cost?" Then my wires start clicking and say, "Aha, I think I'm in the right zone." So we did something for them for a number of years. We did a lot of government programs in the sense of my company known as Nasama Enterprises. Did a lot of work the for Nestle, for government agencies like Petrotrin, NP, Community Development, Ministry of Sports. So what we have done is certainly a very wide span of things that I've done for myself as an individual. So as a boy from Tobago, who born in Speyside, grew up by the seaside, they catching fish, cobbler fish and making fish broth on the bayside. It's a far cry from what I came from. But it's not where you come from, it's what you've done or what you do, what you contribute will make a difference in your life. And so while some people may have celebrated that body from Speyside, the thing is that we are able to give something back to the people. And wherever I've gone, I've created great impression on people. I've created friendships in Cuba, Espanol Países, Venezuela, and people have shown a lot of respect for me for what I've done. I've gone to places like Portugal, and there and Cup broadcasts, and I got a lot of respect from many people on what I actually would have been doing with broadcasting. So there's a lot to handle, a lot that I've done, a lot I'm grateful for, but I'm still a very simple country boy, a boy who grew up in Speyside, and very grateful for the opportunities that were given to me. And I didn't really try to do anything uncharacteristic where it's concerned. Whatever I've done in life is because I was ordained to do that. And one of the things that the added portions to my life is that part of being a broadcaster, a football commentator, they know me much more for, and basketball. That I created the name Soca Warriors, and they were using the name Strike Squad before. And then one day, I don't know, premonition, somebody spoke to me and said, "Hey, why don't we just change this?" So I came up with working on this thing and the idea of a name. It was Calypso Warriors and Soca Warriors. Then I went with Soca Warriors from an advice from a good close friend from Nestle. And now it became, in the end, a name that's been used, that was used all over the world and went to the World Cup with Trinidad and Tobago. But even if I have achieved that, I now have the trademark for the name in itself because it's mine. There are those who really didn't give me the respect that I deserved from it. But it didn't matter to me because I think that I was ordained to do that. I was following God's work and say, well, they do that. I faced a lot of challenges with people who were deciding then that, well, that boy, they shouldn't get it. And that is we own. And in the end, everything was done to ensure that I didn't get it. But no matter what they would have done, God said He ordained that He assigned me to do that job, and I did it. And in the end, the courts gave me the trademark, and the intellectual property office in Trinidad also recently gave me a year ago the trademark for the name. So it is all owned by me. So even if you may hear the name is being called still by a number of people, and that the authorities have not really settled down to even sit down and have a discussion, which is minimal really because everything has its time. I waited 23 years to get that, so the best is still yet to come, and my time for that will come, and that will be done, and eventually because there are a number of people who know, leading people, respectable people, but we live in a country as well where sometimes you don't get what you deserve, or you get what you don't deserve, and all sort of crazy things happen. So it's not very important to fight that. It's a fact, it's reality, and the good news for us is that we now have the trademark and we can go on and do tremendous things with that because I don't think people in Trinidad and Tobago understand the true value of a trademark and its worth and what it can do for you, your generations to come, because it can't be changed now. So even if there are people who rush to the line and say, well, hey, this is mine, a number of people do those things, come to the front and parade. Because if you go to the intellectual property office, there are a sea of people who had put in their names to register to trademark Soca Warriors. And no matter all the challenges that we face, that really didn't happen. It became the owner's property and nobody else's. But apart from all that, hey man, I've had a tremendous life living in Trinidad, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity that was given to me to come to Trinidad to do what I had to do. So, but what I see now is that the way things are going, that we as Tobagonians have to come together and work harder to develop stronger methods on which we can be better recognized and the quality that we have. If you look at Tobago population drifting away from your sports talk and thing, and that we have prime minister, a former prime minister, a president, a former president, a bishop of the Anglican Church. We also have the Chief Justice, and you look at the civil service in Trinidad, and most of the senior people are Tobagonians. So it means that despite the size of our 60 plus population that they say we have, Tobagonians have contributed tremendously towards the Twin Islands state. And it's going to be a time when Tobagonians will have to now start looking at themselves and saying, if we've given so much to Trinidad and we are so minute, then we can use what we have to better make Tobago a more respectable place, because Tobago has a lot to offer. But what are we taking and giving back to the people? And that's what I think it's missing, basically, as a man who has been involved in all aspects of life, as a commentator and all those things. I feel that we as Tobagonians have to be stronger and be much more aware of what we have to offer and how we can capitalize. So I left Tobago with about 50,000 people. In 40 something years now, and just about 10,000 people, whatever, been added to the population. I look at, I've been around Tobago working as a broadcaster, producer, and all that, and see a lot of wasteland in the place. So there's so much more that Tobago can do. The population Tobago should be about 150 now, and they say I'm crazy, but that's real. And the fact that we have a 60,000, 65,000, whatever population, it means that we have not really grown to the order that we really would like to see happen to Tobago. And what we have done for the world, we have not been able to really give Tobago back its true worth, because we feel that we are probably subservient. And in that subservient behavior, we have not been able to really give what we're supposed to or give to the people. And a lot of people are suffering as a result of that. And I hope that at some point in time, your authorities, your government, whichever the government could be, will start looking at how best we can make Tobago a place worthy of its character. And that it's a little island, they say we're a big one, a big little, there's a term that is being used now for Tobago, but it must not be a term that is as a little island with big ideas, but a little island who has produced big things and continue to show the world that we have a lot to really cater for, to show that we have and can give back to the world in itself. So this is an idea about this fellow named Selwyn Melville from
Yes.
Tobago from Speyside and things. So hope you are vexed because I was said.
No, I am actually very proud because one of the things that I keep talking about on this show is the Tobagonian rhythm. There is a rhythm to us. There's a uniqueness to us as Tobagonian people. And with you, I grew up with your voice. There was a resonance that made me want to listen to your commentary. And that is a gift. It cannot be
Wow.
matched. Yeah. And I'm so happy that you're here because I want you to tell the viewers something positive before we wrap. What would you say to our viewers today?
Well, honestly, I'm a real Tobagonian, heart and soul. So I ain't really pretending that. And despite the fact that I spent so many more of my years in Trinidad, I am still Tobagonian, still proud of being Tobagonian. Because I sit there and I listen to even some of my commentators say, and there's a goal for Trinidad, or Trinidad beat Antigua in this cricket match. And there's Trinidad and Tobago. So I don't think we've been given the credit that we want. But as a Tobagonian, what I'd like to say is that we have shown the world that we are so much more and we have given so much to them. Like quietly, there's a guy called Colin Braffett. He's from Wilson Road. He is a senior medical man that has been, he's a brain surgeon. He grew up there in Wilson Road. All of us grew up together as boys. And he is on medical boards in the US, highly rated, highly respected, and all that. CNN used him recently during the COVID period. And he was a very good singer and piano player and everything. But so we have people that we don't even know about. And I think we have to start learning how we could start to reach out to our people who are doing very well in the world and hear how they're making their mark. And then we will make now to the owners even more proud of what they are, and that we can sit down there and start saying, if Colin Braff from Wilson Road could do this, or Selwyn Melville from Speyside could do that, or Colin McDonald from Wilson Road as well could do that, that up Pump Mill, then these people, we have those, and they are all I went to school in Scarborough, Second Bishops and Elizabeth College. So we didn't have most of the attributes that Trinidad had for schooling and all that. But we were able to develop something because of how we were close knit and how we shared those days together and grew up as boys and men and women to really develop, show the island has worth. So we have something to give. And what we have to do is to sit down now and start talking about, hey, let me stop all the nonsense, all this sort of violence, all this sort of crime and thing that we're involved in, and the nonsense we hear. and we're watching TV and we're hearing some people say some things on TV, and they're very skewed in their ways and their speeches that they're making. But we didn't grow up like that. We grew up with a whole different momentum, rhythm, and all that. And let's start coming together, share what we have. And even as all leaders in Tobago or authorities, they can start seeing, don't get angry anymore, because some people will troll you into the mode of anger. And then they say, "But me catch him, because you get vexed." And now you're to stupidness. We have to be wise enough to know what, hey, I grew up in martial arts, right? And one of the things I learned in martial arts is that I see a kick and cuff and punch down and thing, and you're ready to give up. But I learned that no matter how hurting that was, you had to stand up there and fight and finish. So what you're seeing happening now is because they say in Tobago, if you're not mango tree and a bear, you're not pelt of stone and a mango tree, because they are none for pick. So it means that if people are angry with you, it's because you're offering something. So you have to be wise enough to pull back and say, hey, today is not the day to get angry. Today's the day to reason with what they are saying and how we could do it. So I would like to say to our leaders that they have to be wiser in their approach and be able to decipher what is the good, what is the bad, and what is the ugly, and how we can really take Tobago forward. It's not about me or you, it's about all of us. I was just trying there to bring the German football women's team to play a Tobago women's team. It's unfortunately can't happen because of a number of things, but that isn't important. But we see the future and what we can do to further continue to assist Tobago in making that thing forward. So people, believe in yourself, believe in what you have to offer. Look at your history and see what your people are really doing for you, with you, and how you can make Tobago a stronger place. Tobago has 65,000 people, but Tobago is bigger than that. And we have to now look at, say, how can we expand Tobago so we can encourage more people, encourage more businesses, because we don't have business really working as it should in Tobago as far as I'm concerned. Because right now your shelves may be empty because of one boat not working. But if we as Tobagonians sit down and decide how we can do things, it ain't no bread on the shelf. So how we can encourage the bakers and them to make more bread in Tobago. So that'll be a different thing. And all these things we have to start coming together, as we had problems in the past and how they treated us. You used to go for your birth certificate in Trinidad, your passport and all those things. Now that's a thing of the past. So we have to now say, well, because of resilience and great resolve on the part of the people, we did that. So now what can we do now to change and further enhance Tobago's position and image so we can be more self-sufficient and be a better place? And so we don't have to beg anybody or they can say, well, what Tobago could do? Tobago can't stand on its own, and Tobago and this and Tobago and that. There are a number of things about Tobago that people are not really recognizing. So until they do that, and that's why I probably went too long on this thing to tell you. But the thing is, we have to now come together as a people, love each other more, understand what we have, and what we're prepared to give back to the society and to the union of Trinidad and Tobago.
And there you have it, guys. I could not have said it better myself. Mr. Selwyn Melville, thank you so much for joining us. From our family to yours, we wish you nothing but peace, love, blessings, and of course, success in whatever you endeavor to do. We're going to take a break and we're going to be right back, guys. We're going to be back with our Culture Corner. Zav joins us, musician, poet, singer, songwriter, for our Culture Corner. But let me just mention the trivia question once more. What was Tobago's airport first called before it was renamed? I hope you guys get it. If not, the answer when we return with Brunch, a taste of Tobago. See you guys soon.